Despite years of classes, countless workshops, hours of practice, you still haven't unlocked your inner dancer, singer or guitarist. You're feeling stuck in your flamenco journey, or maybe you're not feeling stuck, but you just want to progress better, faster, or make sure that you're starting on solid foundations. Mastering flamenco requires more than skills, superficial knowledge and blind practice. So let's hit pause on our regular practice routine and delve into something fundamental, the way we approach learning, studying and practicing flamenco. Because often it's this very approach that can either propel you forward or leave you feeling stuck in your progress. Hi, this is Guillermo for FlamencoMAPS. Welcome to my channel. Whether we dance flamenco, we sing, we play guitar, we play palmas, we play cajon, most of us have this image of flamenco learning. We take classes for years where we learn countless steps, choreographies, letras, falsetas, remates, etc. We go one palo after the other, practice a lot, confident that if we keep climbing, one day we'll reach the top of the mountain. In the beginning, it's very exciting. We learn lots of things, everything is new, and progress seems very fast. But we quickly realize that the learning curve is not smooth and linear. We encounter plateaus and occasional breakthrough, but eventually the progression curve flattens out. The climb starts feeling frustratingly slow and difficult, especially for adult learners, where we no longer have this capacity to learn and absorb like children through pure imitation. So today I'm not going to teach you palmas pattern, explain a compás, or talk about the Cante por soler. But this video isn't just another lesson, it's a game changer. Let me share with you what I consider a practical approach to studying and practicing flamenco, and why straying from it often leads to wasted time, effort, and ultimately failure. A few days ago, I came across a quote by James Clear that inspired this video. It says, "You don't need to worry about progressing slowly, you need to worry about climbing the wrong mountain." I love it because it pinpoints the main problem. I have seen so many dedicated students who still struggle even after many years of practice. The Compás still throws them off, Cante is still a mystery, they don't feel confident enough to improvise, they are always wondering whether what they do is right or wrong. They are stuck at a certain level, unable to break free from invisible barriers. Many people feel they've hit a wall and sometimes even give up on flamenco altogether, feeling frustrated, disappointed, and questioning their talent. But if this resonates with you, it's crucial to understand. It's not about lacking talent. Spending a lot of time practicing is important, but it is by no means the only key to success. In fact, mindless practice, just putting in hours, can even be counterproductive. A common issue I frequently observe in flamenco classes and among students is the tendency to invest all their time, energy and resources climbing the wrong mountain, which most of the time means hyper-focusing on their own discipline, overlooking other essential aspects. Dancers obsess over footwork and choreographies, guitarists over technical skills and falsetas, and singers on memorizing more and more letras. While these things are important, they are just part of the bigger picture. When learning something new, it's not merely one mountain we have to conquer, one single thing to practice over and over again. It's always a blend of various skills and knowledge. Like when you learn a foreign language, you can break it down into listening, comprehension, expression, punctuation, writing, reading, grammar, vocabulary. In flamenco, we can identify 4 fundamental areas that form the foundation of everything: technique, rhythm and compás, flamenco language, and familiarity with Cante. Within each area, we'll find subcategories that we'll explore in a minute. So many times we focus not only on just one of these areas, but on just one aspect within one of these areas. And that's the biggest mistake, focusing on just one tiny piece of the whole puzzle. Many things are usually neglected and we fall into the trap of thinking, oh, I'll study that later, or it's not important, I don't need that, I'm a dancer, I just want to dance, I'm a guitarist, I just want to play. Yes, I know you. But believe me, they are the missing piece that unlock true mastery. If any of these elements are significantly lacking, sooner or later you'll get stuck. You'll never be the artist you want to be. Only when all these areas have grown sufficiently, they can intersect in the sweet spot of critical mass. The critical mass is a concept originally used in nuclear physics. It represents the minimum quantity of a substance you need to initiate and maintain a chain reaction of fission, like a bomb or a reactor. It's like you finally have enough fuel to start a fire.
That should just about do it.
And when it finally starts, it will continue to burn forever. This concept perfectly applies to flamenco or any skills development. Reaching the critical mass is the tipping point where finally everything is coming together, progress is getting faster and faster, bigger and bigger, easier and easier. So let's explore these different areas. If your technique isn't up to par, it's challenging to stay in the flow, listen and connect with other artists, interact and of course enjoy yourself. But we often have a very reductive vision of what technique is. If speed, power and complexity might impress, at first they are just a small part of the picture. There is much more to that, like control, cleanliness of execution, contrast, nuance, efficiency, healthy practice, phrasing. Technique is just what we use to express ourselves, our artistic toolbox. The wider our range of tools, the more nuanced and expressive we can be. But we don't need extraordinary technique, just as poets don't need complicated words to be profound. We just need enough technique. Developing a strong sense of rhythm is necessary because it is what connects all of us. If repetition is helpful and necessary for memorization, simply repeating steps, falsetta or palmas patterns over and over again without rhythmically understanding and feeling them limits your progress. It is essential to break the rhythm area into smaller components that also need to be developed in a balanced way. First, just rhythm, which extends beyond flamenco. Skills like maintaining a steady tempo, understanding and mastering concepts like beats, subbeats, accents, phrasing, binary and ternary subdivisions, rhythm shift, polyrhythm. Then we can apply all this in the specific field of flamenco rhythm, what we call compás, exploring the different compás types, their characteristics, their rhythmic cues, the amarra, remate, cierre, subida, etc. Also know why and how to count the different compasses, and then practice compás with palmas plus foot. It's not an option. It's necessary to internalize and feel the compás. Without a strong internalized compás, nothing flows. You'll always be counting in your head, unable to listen to the music, cante, or pay attention to the dancer. And if you like rhythmic precision, the overall quality of the performance is compromised. By language here, I'm referring to the musical and choreographic language of flamenco, not Spanish language. Though learning Spanish for flamenco is always beneficial, that's a different story. The first thing to know and keep in mind is that flamenco is primarily based on improvisation. And instead of saying improvisation, which is a word that always sounds a little scary, we should say conversation. When we speak with someone, we constantly improvise. We don't recite poems or part of plays to each other, right? You don't need loads of material, super skills, or ages of practice to improvise in flamenco. It's not about a level to achieve, but a mindset to have. It is not just for advanced students or professional artists, and it should not be something you tackle later once you master dancing, playing, or singing. On the contrary, it forms the foundation of the entire system, and beginning to improvise as early as possible grants you access to the real flamenco art form. Otherwise, you'll just be taking classes and following instructions you don't understand forever. If we don't understand and practice it from the start, we can waste a lot of time thinking that everything is just sequences of steps, letras, and music just put together. Once you master this language, you can always create your own choreographies, composition, or whatever you want, but the basis is in the functional language. You can literally think of flamenco as a language with its own vocabulary, grammar, syntax, and punctuation. The vocabulary, it's the building blocks that we combine to create meaningful sentences. For dancers, it's steps and marcajes, for example. For singers, it's letras, coletillas, salidas, estribillos. For guitarists, it's falsetas, compasses, variations. Knowing the syntax is knowing the structures. How do we organize things together? Grammar is knowing the rules that ensure the coherence of the structure and communication. And punctuation is about intentions, questions, answer, breathing, pausing, llamadas, remates, cierres, subidas. In addition to that, within the main language of flamenco, we all have to understand the specific dialects of others, that of cante, guitar, baile, palmas, etc. Because what we want is being able to communicate with each other. Many students fall into the trap of growing only their vocabulary part, more and more of it, more steps, more falsetas, more remates, more letras. Making this part too big actually serves no purpose at all. You can memorize a whole dictionary word by word, but it is of no use if you don't know how to use them in a conversation. Cante can feel mysterious and it can be overwhelming, but it is another fundamental pillar of flamenco. We all have to interact with the cante. No choice here either. Of course, understanding the lyrics is enriching, but in a purely functional way, I keep repeating that you don't need to understand the meaning of the lyrics to interact with the cante. When dancers dance to a letra, for example, they are not interpreting the specific message. They are responding to its structure, not to its meaning. Anyways, if you want to delve into flamenco poetry, you can find many poetic translations of lyrics on this channel. Simply memorizing letras one after another isn't the most effective approach of cante. Why? Because there are countless letras and each can be interpreted in so many ways. The good news is cante isn't random. There is a system to the madness. Here is what works better. Keep in mind that we are talking about cante and not songs. Conceptually, this changes everything. I explained this here, and it is the only way to connect cante and improvisation. By the way, if you like this video, like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot. The repertoire. In traditional flamenco, singers draw from a common repertoire of palos, and within each palo from a set of melodies called styles. The different styles have different rules and different interpretive possibilities, what I call the processing. While there are many palos, many styles, and many possible processings, focusing on the most foundational ones using the 80-20 rule or the Pareto principle is a great starting point. Critical mass guides us in determining what to learn and practice. And it's not about blind practice in hopes of a sudden breakthrough or revelation. Breakthroughs or aha moments often seem random, unexpected, and sometimes they never seem to occur despite our effort. It might be because you are climbing the wrong mountain, but it might also be because you are attempting to climb a right mountain, but at the wrong time, without the necessary preparation too early in your process. Because there is a right time to learn and practice different things based on your current level of knowledge and abilities. Sometimes, no matter how hard you push and practice, trying to nail something only by repeating it over and over again won't work. Advancing and reaching critical mass in one area often unlocks progress in others. If you haven't reached necessary critical masses in other areas, you'll actually be wasting time. It's like a fire that doesn't catch. You would add more and more fuel when what is missing is something else, perhaps wood, oxygen, or just matches. The best example is that of bulería. It is one of the most difficult palos for several reasons that I discussed in another video, and yet we dive into it headfirst even though we have not reached sufficient critical masses in so many areas. But we insist on bulería, we spend hours and months and years on it, just wasting a lot of effort insisting on something that is out of reach at the moment. Realizing that you should start by studying a bit of rhythm, practicing much more palmas, and studying the Cante por solea, for example, could save you so much time and effort in your quest for bulería. Critical mass allows you not only to direct your work but also to prioritize. It saves time and gives you more autonomy in your study. If you think in terms of critical mass, you will strategically develop your knowledge and skills in a balanced way in order to achieve breakthrough as quickly and as often as possible. And the breakthroughs you make in these essential areas will not be temporary fixes but real progress that apply to your entire flamenco system. Essential basics are too often overlooked. Sure, those amazing Spanish flamenco artists might not have studied or practiced like that, but they grew up soaked in flamenco like fish in water. They had a huge head start. For us outsiders, the key is building a solid foundation. Lack of foundation is a recipe for later frustration. It might seem slow and boring or beside the point at first, but trust me, developing your critical mass is the way. Simply repeating without comprehension leads to mere memorization, not true integration or skill development. If you have sufficient skills in one or two areas, like a bit of compás and enough technique, perhaps you can fool the audience, but you'll just be a parrot, reciting a beautiful poem without understanding it, unable to change a single comma and without a safety net in case of memory lapse. And you won't learn the most fundamental things. You will never be able to extrapolate concepts and repurpose material. No room for adaptability, creativity, or improvisation. So once you've learned 5 solea and 12 alegrias and 46 pata por bulería and realize that you still don't know how to dance, play, or sing por solea, the por is important, por alegría or por bulería, it can be very frustrating and painful because you suddenly realize how much time and energy you have wasted in vain. But it's not too late to rebalance your learning and progress faster than you think from now on. To truly enhance your practice, consider these 3 crucial elements: what to study, how to study it, and when to study it. For beginners, for example, it's essential to dive in while being very mindful not to overwhelm yourself with too much theory or too complex material. But now, for example, let's say that you are an experienced percussionist in another music genre and you want to start flamenco. Maybe you already excel in technique and rhythm, but you still need to learn the different compasses, the specific flamenco language, the different palos and the cante styles and everything else. You may progress faster than beginners, but again, similar to learning a new language. Just because you speak fluent Japanese doesn't mean that you can overnight speak fluent Portuguese. It will take time. There are things that you can't rush. Another common unbalanced combination is that of aficionados or aficionadas, here in the sense of non-professional. Aficionados, singers who may know cante very well but may struggle with technique or compás because they did not devote the necessary time to it. And that makes it sometimes very difficult to play, sing or dance with them. Making progress and achieving mastery requires a lot of time and patience. Progress may feel slow initially, but consistency is key. Keep going and suddenly breakthroughs will happen. It also takes introspection. Take a moment to evaluate your weaknesses, prioritize areas for improvement, and break down practice sessions to focus on specific elements. It also takes humility and acceptance. Although it may feel like it's regression, but it's often necessary to delay short-term gratification for long-term success. And responsibility, it's not only the student's fault if they get lost, for example, in too much of material. Often it's because in class, teachers typically provide a lot of content and no explanations. I know it's difficult, but as students, it's essential to identify and actively seek out what aligns with our true needs, rather than passively accepting content. So look at these areas, identify your weaknesses, and assess where there is an imbalance in your critical masses. You have the comment section below to tell me all your struggles, your difficulties. We can discuss all this together, and the more you tell me, the more I can try to help you. Recognizing these gaps can help you assess your progress, focus your efforts, and rebalance your skill set. Ensure that everything you learn aligns with your main goal. And also set SMART goals. Make them specific, like learning a particular style of solaire, measurable, such as practicing contrast with a metronome at a certain tempo, achievable goals to avoid diving too deep into bulería if you are not ready. Don't try to go too fast if your technique and your rhythmic precision don't allow you. Relevant. Do I need another remate right now? And also set time-bound goals to stay motivated and focused. Remember, flamenco is a lifelong journey, but the sooner you reach the critical mass, the sooner you get to the most exciting part, making art. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, share the video to any flamenco student who might need it. Also, please consider supporting my work on Patreon. The link is in the description. And go and visit flamencomaps.com, where I explain my courses, my classes, and my way of teaching flamenco. I'll see you there. Till then, study nuclear physics.